All right, welcome back to the Trade Reviews series. It's been a while since we've done one of these, and I wanted to make one today because yesterday we've had some really nice action, some really nice trades that we've taken with the AutoTrend system on the 1 minute chart. So this is for day trading, right? This is for day trading. The ATS works the same way in all time frames, but I wanted to focus on some smaller time frames. I know that some of you, a lot of you, like to day trade with the ATS. So I want to show you some examples from yesterday that worked really nicely. First up, we've got the SMH. That's the semiconductor ETF. And as you can see, we've had this beautiful buy signal here at around 11 a.m. Eastern time. And the reason why I liked this signal a lot is because it was in alignment with the higher time frame. If you see down here, the ATS trend validator is all blue. That tells me that on a higher time frame that I have set up, the trend is also going higher. So what we have here is a convergence, basically, of trends. We've had the short-term signal just before being red that was in conflict with the ATS trend validator, so we wouldn't have taken a trade here. And then we had another buy signal back into the direction of the higher time frame. So that's my signal there at that point to go long. And at the same time, I don't have it on this chart, but it was going on. At the same time, the general market, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ were also turning to the upside. So we've had multiple confirmations at a single point in time telling us, hey, it's time to go long, the trend is changing, you've got new AutoTrend system signals across the board, the trend validator is also blue, so you're good to go. So my trade was, well, the same as every other trade, if you follow this channel for a while. Even though I haven't made new videos for quite some time, I apologize for that. I've been just too focused on trading. But basically my trade would have been here. The buy signal is confirmed when the bar closes. So when this 1 minute chart closes, that's my confirmation that, okay, this buy signal is legit and I can take it. I will take it as soon as the high of the 1 minute bar is broken by any of the subsequent bars. As you can see in this example, let me zoom in. In this example, it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. So on the 6 minute, this bar broke above the high of the signal bar. That's my confirmation to go long at that point, because we know that this signal is legit, it's staying on the chart, and it's time to go long. So that was my trade. The stop loss needs to go just below the prior swing low. This is the prior swing low that I can see on this chart. It has to be a clear swing low. So you could say, okay, maybe this is also a swing low. And some people do it like this. We also have a strategy in the video course on our website where you can also enter with a tighter stop loss. But for this trade, I decided to put it on the very nice swing low that was created here, because to me, that was just crystal clear. Price made a low and then it moved higher. I wouldn't want to continue being in this trade if this low was taken to the downside. That didn't happen. Instead, we had a very nice trade moving up to the upside. Now, how do I take profits? Well, there are several ways to take profits. Some people like to take specific risk to reward ratios. So for example, let's say you're risking 1, you make 2, and that's your take profit. That's perfectly fine. Others like to do multiples of that, like 3. This particular trade ended up reaching a maximum. I'm not taking that's what I will have taken, but it reached a maximum of 7 to 1. So risking $1 to make 7. Let's say you're risking 1%, that's 7% in profit. Now, I'm not saying that that's I would have taken that exact profit. Instead, I like to scale out of positions. So I have the dynamic profit levels here. Let me enable it. So this is basically what this basically does. I'm sure you're familiar with it if you've watched other videos, but in brief, what this does is it plots these horizontal lines automatically on the chart. It calculates the, well, it calculates a lot of things, but basically it's calculating the recent price action and the inflection points. So the way that I use it is, you can use it for support and resistance, but the way that I like to use it is when I'm already in a trade from the ATS, from my multiple confirmations, when I'm already in a trade, I like to scale out when price hits these lines. Because I know from experience that these lines can act as very strong support and resistance, and they have the power, the potential, they don't always do it, but they have the strong potential of reversing price. So I like to get paid at those locations. So for example, in this particular trade, if I was entering long here, maybe we should mark it. So if I was entering long here, right, my first scale out, my first take profit would have been as soon as price hit that DPL, that dynamic profit level here. So that was my first scale out. I had a second scale out here, sell another quarter of the position there, another one there, and then the rest you can hold on until a couple of things happen. If I'm in a day trade, this is a day trade, right? If I'm in a day trade, I will hold the final piece of my position until one of two things happen. Number one, until the ATS changes color. So if I'm long here and the ATS is blue, as it is, and then I get a red signal, well, that's my cue to exit the trade, because now I'm having an opposite signal. Now the ATS is telling me that, hey, the uptrend has ended and a new short trend is potentially beginning. So there's no reason for me to continue being long. At that point, I would exit. Second time, the second possibility is at the end of the day. If I'm taking a day trade, then I don't want to be long past the market close. So in that scenario, my final exit will be right here, essentially at the high of the day, if I was implementing that final exit strategy, which I was, because only one of two things can happen. Either you get a new ATS signal short, so a sell signal, or the market closes. In this case, it closed without a new trend change to the downside. So in this case, I would have exited just at the last minute of the trading date. I would make sure that I would be on my computer at 3:59 p.m. New York time to exit my position at that point. So that was SMH. Very nice trade, very simple, very technical, using all of the tools of the AutoTrend system to make a very, very nice and stress-free trade. The second trade was on AMD. AMD had basically the same things going on at the same time. You can see it was around 11 a.m. But this one gave us, it was a little bit more tricky. Well, not tricky, it's still the same rules. It's just presenting themselves differently. So let's go over this. The trend validator is blue, so we know that we want to be taking only long signals. We're ignoring any short signals. That's right off the bat. There's no doubt about that. So we're ignoring these short signals here. We're focusing on long signals. Our first long signal occurred at 10:59 a.m. The close of that would have been at 11 a.m. So that's our first signal to go long. If you will notice, it's quite subtle, but let me zoom in right here, blow it up so you can really see it. You can see the high of the candle right here. We make it black. So the high of this candle has not been overtaken by a subsequent candle. Instead, we got a new short signal. So this here is not a trade. It's not a trade because we didn't get our confirmation. Remember that my entry is at the high of the signal bar, right? If the high of the signal bar is not being taken by a future bar, a subsequent bar, then I'm not long. Instead, we had a new signal, a trend change signal to the downside. That lasted for a couple of minutes. Obviously, we didn't take that one because the trend validator was blue. So no trade there. We had a signal, but we didn't have confirmation. The confirmation came at the second signal, which is right over here. We had our signal here, and my confirmation is whenever the high of the signal bar is overtaken by a future bar. That occurred just 2 bars, so 2 minutes later at this bar right over here. So my entry would have been right here. Just like with the SMH trade and all of my other trades, the stop loss goes always at the same location. But in this example, it's right here. You see this came down, this created a swing low right over here, and then moved up. So my stop loss needs to go just below this point here. So just below this point, because that's the last swing low that price created before it continued higher. So that's my signal, that's my confirmation, and my stop loss, and the trade moved higher after that, following very closely the SMH trade. Obviously, AMD is a semiconductor, so it's very closely correlated with the semiconductor ETF, the semiconductor sector. Same deal with the dynamic profit levels. If I'm long there, I am taking profits all along the way. The first take profit would have been the first time that AMD made contact with a dynamic profit level. That was at this location here. That was for a 4-to-1 risk-to-reward ratio on a quarter of my position. And then we had the second contact right over here. That was for a 9.7-to-1 risk-to-reward ratio, so risking 1% to make 9%, obviously on a quarter of my position. And then finally, we hit the last dynamic profit level at the end of the day, and that was also my signal to exit the trade entirely. So I would have taken out the final, any shares that I had left, I would have sold them at the close of the day at that point. So these are two very, very simple trades on AMD and SMH on the 1-minute chart, following the rules of the system and utilizing all of the tools of the AutoTrend system together to make a very, very nice, clean, simple, and repeatable trading plan. And again, just because it's on the 1-minute time frame, it doesn't mean that this will not replicate itself on higher time frames, and it does, as I have explained on numerous videos in this channel. Price is fractal, honestly. So this doesn't matter here. I could hide the time frame, and this would look the same whether it is on a 1 hour, daily, 5-minute, 30-minute. It's all the same. In this case, I happened to be day trading. I didn't have a lot of time. Rather, I had a lot of time because I was in front of my computer, but other times I like to swing trade higher time frames. This is a very nice example for people who like to day trade, take multiple signals throughout the day, and be flat, basically close all positions at the end of the day, which is also a very nice way to do it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, any questions, anything else you like to see, any trades you want to review, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to make some more. All right, so thanks for watching, and take care.